are preparing to live stream the meeting right now. We are going live. We are here, everybody.
We have arrived.
Say hello. There we
Hi.
are.
We're now streaming live on YouTube.
Twitter.
Is now
Yeah.
on YouTube. How about
It's a very official way of going about things.
All right.
Kent, drop a what's up, everybody.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining the Arrowhead Pride YouTube channel for a little live stream for the last few picks of this first round. This is about the range that the Chiefs, we're in striking distance of maybe a trade. This is around where the Chiefs were going to be picking. It's going to be fascinating who goes at 31, who's going to be available at 31. Although I do want to start with this. Guys, I'm not sure I care who was there at 31 in some capacity. I think the Chiefs made the right move going with Orlando Brown. I don't know how you all feel about that, but the way the board's falling to this point, I'm comfortable with what the Chiefs did to make that move to go grab Orlando Brown.
Yeah, I'm there too. Like it just makes sense that the Chiefs didn't gamble on a rookie. Like there's a lot of good quality players on the board. Don't get me wrong here, but like length requirements and things like that the Chiefs are really sticklers for. They're not a whole lot of guys. So if you were hoping that they were going to get a tackle, as much as we love Tevin Jenkins.
Oh, Craig.
I'll pick. Tevin Jenkins is the only name that I think of when I think, Orlando Brown or who's still on the board.
He probably wasn't going to be high on.
You're good, Craig. We're talking. Craig, Jake's got it.
No,
sorry about that.
Cut out. I was just gonna say Tev is the only guy that I would say that's the guy that I would at least weigh those two options. Do you want a cheaper Tevin Jenkins or do you want a more expensive Orlando Brown? I think those are both good options for Kansas.
Right, but like at what point in time does Tevin Jenkins become as good as Orlando Brown? Because by the time he's as good, he's not going to be cheap anymore. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, and he doesn't really fit what they want to do either. So
right, this has been my point the entire time too. Is like I get the confusion about Orlando Brown's fit with the Chiefs, going forward because it's a different scenario than he was in with Baltimore. But like you draft Tevin Jenkins, you draft Christian Darrisaw or any of these tackles. By the time they're as good as Orlando Brown, especially if you had to trade up for them, you're going to have to start paying them because tackles don't step into the NFL good, especially tackles taken at pick 31 or pick 25 or whatever it is. So the deal to me makes a lot of sense in that regard. And I think you've kind of seen that in the way this draft has played out.
Well, and they gave up less than the value of the 31st pick.
They did.
They gave
up roughly 45 if you agree with what the Chiefs are telling you.
Yeah, depending on the draft math, and obviously the Chiefs are going to tell you the 45th. I think the Rich Hill trade chart, which is what we use in the KC draft guide, I believe it went at 38.
38.
Even then though, they were able to go grab an extra second round pick, and there's good players still on the board. I think there might be good players still on the board when it's all said and done when the Chiefs are picking. We'll talk about that a little bit on the AP Laboratory Day 1 reaction. We're going to record after we do this live Zoom. But, I don't think anything today has really just made me super disappointed in what the Chiefs did. I think here's how I look at it. Yeah, the Chiefs might have grabbed somebody at 31. Maybe they moved up for a Christian Darrisaw, who is a high ceiling left tackle potential prospect. But I think the Chiefs, I love that the Chiefs wouldn't address their biggest need aggressively with the acquisition of Orlando Brown. And whether or not he's a perfect fit, whether or not he requires some adjustment in order to fit perfectly or fit well enough, they're better up front than any of the guys probably that were going to be available at pick 31. So
Yeah,
so since you guys
really
are
were
watching. I do figure since people are watching us live, they might want us to tell about who the picks are coming in, just in case. I think so. The Cleveland Browns. If you guys are not caught up, I don't spoil it. So if you are not caught up to the draft and that's important to you, go ahead and pause it. But I don't know where everybody else is. Cleveland Browns have selected cornerback Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, and I actually think this leads into a question that somebody asked: who are some players that you would have considered trading up for if you were the Kansas City Chiefs? And I think the Chiefs could have been in position to move up a couple spots to snag somebody like Greg Newsome if they really felt corner was a big issue here.
Yeah, I think I would have probably been pounding the table at this point if the Chiefs were still here at 31 to go get Greg Newsome, because I do think that it falls off pretty quick, especially with Caleb Farley off the board. You know, you didn't know his medicals, but Newsome is a really good cornerback. He would have been very high on my list of guys that I would have wanted the Chiefs to go up and get. So I actually really like that for the Browns. That secondary is a little bit scary. I mean, it really is. They put together a pretty good group over there. Newsome is going to be able to slot right in and just help them make a strength a strength. I'm sure they're probably sitting there going, "Oh, hell yeah!" Like we're excited that Greg Newsome was able to stick around for that long.
Kyle Rogers wants to know if you're okay, Jake.
Ooh, yeah. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm fine.
We've had a lot of Jake Aaron Rodgers questions, so just
Oh really? Well, the Packers are up in like 3 picks, so that's why I'm like on my phone. I'm talking to people, seeing what's going to happen. No, guys, I'm fine. If you are an avid listener, you know I'm one of Jordan Love's biggest fans behind the Green Bay Packers. So if Aaron Rodgers wants to continue acting like how he is, trade him. I don't care. Let's go with Jordan Love. Load the team with talent and let's roll, baby. You just roll into Hall of Fame quarterbacks in Green Bay. So what's stopping us?
All I can say is imagine your quarterback being dramatic. I cannot relate in the slightest.
You know what? Honestly, I hope that stays the same for you, because I remember when Aaron Rodgers was 24, 25, and he was the toast of the town, and everyone thought he was so cool and did all this cool stuff, and how he was like the anti-Brett Favre, who Brett was so dramatic at the end of everything. So for your guys' sake, I hope you're right. I hope 12 years from now you can sing the same tune.
Oh, we will be. Very confident in that. And we'll probably have more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers did at this point as well.
Cool.
We're already tied.
Good luck.
We're already tied. All right, Baltimore Ravens are on the clock here, and they've obviously got 2 first-round picks now, including the Chiefs, the 31st selection. I kind of wondered if maybe they were going to try to aggressively go move up and use those 2 first-round picks to go grab Lamar Jackson, another weapon that they can blame for the lack of success in the passing game. But, I wonder if they go Rashad Bateman here. I wonder if this is the move.
Falling directly to them.
Man,
yeah.
There's another guy.
This isn't our pick, though. So
correct. That's another guy that I would have traded up for, though. Rashad
Bateman. I don't think I would have
off the board before Rashad Bateman. 2 running backs going off the board before Rashad Bateman.
I think
Alex Leatherwood.
Listen, the Raiders don't count. They don't count.
Can we make fun of the Raiders?
Yeah, go.
Let's do it. It's time. This is the annual tradition where the Raiders make a move that everyone scratches their head. They have no idea why they made the decision that they made. They take a player that most people evaluate as a day 2 type player. We're not sure Alex Leatherwood can play tackle. He's probably a guard. And here we go. Alex Leatherwood, 17th to the Raiders. And guess what? Here's the funny thing. A lot of people laugh at the Raiders picks. And guess what? Everyone's normally right. David Arnett stinks. I don't.
Everybody where Cleveland Farrell ranked in the KC draft guide.
Okay, that's
listen.
Beside the point. And
what if he plays guard? What if Leatherwood plays guard?
No, Leatherwood's a good guard. He is. And I think the move is it's a safe move to say we're going to grab a guy that's got a lot of experience in the highest level of football the last 4 years. If he fails at tackle, we'll move him inside and we'll get a quality guard for the next 10 years. That's probably the move.
It's who was on the board, though. Like, it's looking at who the other players that were on the board. Like, we watched Alex Leatherwood get handled by almost every single NFL level edge rusher that he played against, particularly ones that used power. Steve Spagnuolo only plays defensive ends that use power. So, like, he's walking into a bad situation against the Chiefs here, where he's going to see a lot of that style of rusher that don't match up well with what he does well. So, they could move him inside to guard. I don't think that's going to help with the power thing so much. But I mean, it's a situation where I don't love the fit. It's very clearly a Mike Mayock pick. Like he's he's out here picking Clemson, Bama, Ohio State. Like, it's only players from like a handful of schools that are in the national playoffs, and that's it. Like, I get trying to establish a winning culture, but at some point, Mike, you got to turn on some tape of somebody else.
Actually, I'm going to disagree with you guys a little bit here. I think Leatherwood at 17 is high, but I'm higher on him than I think you guys are. I think he's a good player. I think they're going to slot him in at either right tackle or one of those guard spots, and he's going to be they're not a worse team for him being on the team. I mean, we made fun of Colton Miller as well when he was picked, and that's one of their best picks in the last 5 years. Alex Leatherwood is a phenomenal athlete. He's played big-time football. I think his struggles against big-time football players is a little bit overstated. I don't think you start from your freshman year on at Alabama and just always struggle against some of these big-time guys. But did he? Yeah. Yes, he did. Like, I think you can find that. But I just think, is he like a slam dunk? This guy's going to be fantastic. Is he going to be an all-pro? No, he's not. And that's why it's like, yeah, at 17, that seems rich. But I think he's a good player. I don't love the pick, but it's not something I'm going to like point and laugh at them for making. I think Alex Leatherwood is a fine football player.
I just think this is consistently the Raiders reaching 15, 20, 30.
That's what it is.
You can say that. Yeah.
Every year. It's just like clockwork. They always
and I think this year's even worse because Christian Darrisaw and Tevin Jenkins were sitting right there. And I think just about everybody had those guys higher rated. And even if you want to dive into athleticism, we didn't get the full Christian Darrisaw puzzle. And maybe that points to the whole fact of this year with the COVID season and not everybody doing all the workouts, getting to see everybody. Maybe that's why he wasn't in the mix, but he's equally as good of an athlete on the field. So why not take the better athlete with better film and Christian Darrisaw? It's a very Raiders move. I wouldn't be surprised if he became a quality guard or a low-end starting offensive tackle at the NFL level. It's just at 17 with those other options, it just looks really bad.
It's boring.
They do need guards, though. I mean, like they let everybody go, so they need
a lot.
They need a lot.
They need a lot, and you love to see it.
We got a question in the chat here from Trent Weber. Any surprise on the corners coming off? Worried that the Chiefs won't have a great selection there. So far, for me, no real surprise here. These four that have come off the board. However, if we start seeing maybe Stokes, Fitu Melifonwu, Tyson Campbell coming off the board here at the end of the round, we'll start talking.
Or if the slots start.
Yeah. If Samuel starts.
I think the way I look at it, and as late as the Chiefs are picking in the second round, I think getting
got to pick in, by the way.
Bateman.
For the Ravens.
I think we're getting outside corner. I don't think the Chiefs are going to have a lot of outside corners available to them at 58. I think there could be some of these slot type players that could potentially be available to them. And those are the guys I would expect to be there back there in the back. And I'm not optimistic if Fitu Melifonwu is going to be there at 58, but Elijah Molden, maybe, and even Richie Grant, another guy, some of these slot type guys, I could see some of them being available. Yeah. And Jake, you had the pick.
Yeah, it's Bateman. It's on the board. This is doomsday for the Packers, too, so I'm sweating it out a little bit. 3 fan favorite guys were Newsome, Bateman, and Elijah Moore. Newsome just went. Bateman just went. Could Elijah Moore potentially go to the Saints? You never know.
Ooh.
It would seem like a good fit for them. They also could use a big Tev as well, but it's a little PTSD from last year watching all the wide receivers go off the board right before the Packers pick. So I'm just assuming it's going to be Elijah Moore. Just assuming I'm going to go cry.
You're just assuming it's going to be Davis Mills?
Oh, is it?
It might be. They might need a backup. They might need a backup quarterback for Jordan Love.
I thoroughly enjoy that the Ravens used their first pick on Rashad Bateman so that we don't have to cry about Rashad Bateman being taken with the Chiefs pick by the Ravens. I do think he was within trade-up range. Issue is a team had to be willing to trade back with you. And just looking at these last couple picks, I don't know if the Browns were willing to not take Greg Newsome. It seemed like that was a guy that they probably were pretty high on. Yeah. Once Najee Harris went, I do think Jacksonville wanted to make sure that they got their next guy in Travis Etienne. That pick got in relatively fast for running back. So I'm not certain the Chiefs would have been able to find a trade-up partner for Bateman. But I will say it was kind of a shock that he fell so far down.
I like Rashad Bateman. I don't really want to trade up for him. I didn't really want the Chiefs to trade up, period. I wasn't overly optimistic, excited about the idea of that happening or something good coming out of that. The trade up is for Rashad Bateman. I'm not super thrilled because I don't want to give up that additional asset. Don't get me wrong, wide receiver 2 is a big need for this football team, but I think priority 1, 2, and 3 for me was tackle. I've had that's just where my head's at. So knowing that the Chiefs secured their tackle makes me feel a lot better about everything. Obviously, edge, big need. Wide receiver, still a big need. But again, I'd rather just secure a day one starter at left tackle than any of the things that could happen here at the bottom of this first round. It's going to be interesting to see what guys might fall, or some teams might be scared of drafting. I think we've seen a couple of risks here already with Caleb Farley. A guy like Caleb Farley getting off the board. Jalen Phillips going off the board pretty quick. It's interesting. I don't know if the medicals were overstated. I don't know if some of that was just smoke. But it's fascinating that some of these swings on talented players with the medicals. It's almost like maybe a few teams are trying to take advantage of the fear in the marketplace. It could be some teams really want to, zigging where people zag and trying to get value.
I will say, and part of the thing that we had talked about in like our best case Chiefs mock when we were talking about picking at 31 still was not a whole lot of edge rushers coming off the board. And so far, that's been the case.
Two running backs, too.
2 running backs, too. Yes,
and
definitely best case for that.
And I don't even think even in our best case, do we have 2 running backs in our best case scenario?
I don't think so.
To who?
Saints.
Oh, you just
hey, you guys are way ahead of where everything is.
Sorry, I'm gonna leave. I gotta go.
Okay, so
did the stream hear that?
Oh yeah, the stream picked that up. Yeah, Jake was plenty loud about that.
So are people upset that we just tipped the pick? And do people want us to tip the pick?
No, they don't. We have gotten somebody else already that has said that they are not caught up. So I would say at least give a warning before you tip a pick.
Yeah,
Jake,
yell at Jake, yell at the Packers fan.
I do want to go back, though, to that best case scenario mock. I mean, yeah, if we were still doing the Chiefs thing, this would be kind of good. Tevin Jenkins still on the board. Your choice of edge rushers past the first 2 still on the board. You even got 2 running backs. You got a slot receiver and Kadarius Toney off the board. Like, this would be pretty good if the Chiefs are still picking at 31. But I think as we are going to continue to, answer this question, I don't think that anybody still available is better than Orlando Brown, especially when you factor in how long it would take them to be as good as him. I get the money argument, I really do, but I don't know why paying a lesser player less money is as good of a deal as paying a better player more money.
All right, we got this from Sin Abatrika. Hey guys, Chiefs fan here from London, UK. My cousin is a 49ers fan and he's excited about their quarterback pick. Is that something to worry about? Can I answer?
Yes.
3 words. Patrick LaVon Mahomes.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, of course you did. It doesn't matter. You know what? Yes, there's always going to be a good team that's challenging on the other side in the NFC. There's always going to be a good opponent in the Super Bowl where the Chiefs will be consistently playing for the next 12 years. They're 2 for the last 2. They've been on the doorstep the other time. Patrick Mahomes is always going to be in there.
Is how long it'll take Trey Lance to be good. So,
well, come on.
It's already good.
But I think it does. I don't care. Bring them. Aaron Rodgers want to come catch 2 L's every single season in the AFC West. By all means, come through. We're ready. Someone Jakey sources. Tanner Westberg called Jakey sources.
Yeah.
Someone. So I don't know. Adam Weiberg. No, hold on. Tanner Westberg. Jakey sources.
I don't know who that is. I like that Jake was like, let me hear who that is. I might know who that is. No, Trey Lance. Listen, when it came down to it, it was Mac versus Trey. I think the Niners picked the guy that has the higher ceiling 2-3 years from now. So I
tweeted this out. It was like, okay, Mac Jones does not have a chance of being the best quarterback in the NFC West. his ceiling is like the third best in the NFC West. And Trey Lance has a chance of not maybe every week going toe-to-toe with a Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray, but most weeks I think he has the capability of doing that as he develops and grows. He has a chance to be up there and in the conversation and go toe-to-toe with those guys. And you got to take a big swing at some point. And I think Kyle made the right move doing that, which is a credit to him because all this Mac Jones stuff was insane. I'm sorry. I think Mac Jones at 15 is a reach.
I think that Trey Lance is definitely a swing, but if your whole rationale is you got to take a swing, then take this significantly better prospect than Justin Fields.
Yeah, but we all agree with that. But yeah.
The entire concept of taking a swing is fine. Then take a swing. Don't try to take the guy that's played 1 year versus low level of competition, been good in some regards at that level, but like a 1 year at North Dakota State, if your whole point is swinging for the fences, swing for the fences with Justin Fields.
It's reported that the board work was very good for Trey Lance, and I could see that being
that Peyton Turner's off the board. I just know a lot of Chiefs.
Oh yeah, 28th pick. The New Orleans Saints select my guy in the KC draft guide, Peyton Turner, going in the first round. And you know what? He didn't have the best Senior Bowl. But there are some high-level moments. Go watch the BYU game and watch
worked Brady Christensen
and the effort level and the quick twitch and the change of direction ability. He operated as an unblocked man and some really good feet and some change of direction ability and high effort plays back to back plays. Like I understand why a team would want to go grab Peyton Turner in the first round. I 100% understand why a team would want to do this.
Listen, I would have been over the moon with Peyton Turner at 58. Let's be real. Like I would have been completely good with it, barring somebody else on the board. Jason Oweh's on the board. I'm not taking Peyton Turner ahead of him, although that's exactly what happened. But still, Peyton Turner's a really good football player. It makes sense in New Orleans. We had heard some buzz that he might sneak into the end of round one. And our buddy John Ledyard kind of had alluded that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be in on him as well. Saints may have tried to just snake him out from underneath Tampa Bay. So that might have been a change there. Let's see if Tampa Bay goes edge rusher at the end here.
Jake knows the pick and is upset of the Packers selection.
We don't need to talk about that until it's coming up.
Real quick from Caleb Hecker. He asked when the last AP Nerd Squad podcast will be. The last AP Laboratory on the Arrowhead Pride podcast channel will be on Monday. We're going to do one last show on Monday on the AP Laboratory. It'll be the 250th episode of the AP Laboratory. We're not leaving the podcast space. Just saying that. But we are done on the Arrowhead Pride podcast channel on Monday.
So I just want to say this as it regards to Peyton Turner real quick. We can get back to our podcast coming in later for you guys, but I know a lot of Chiefs fans are big fans of Peyton Turner, much like Kent. They claimed he was, they're my guy for Kent, my guy for a lot of different Chiefs fans. I am completely okay with sacrificing Peyton Turner for these other edges that are still available to drop.
I mean, yeah.
Joseph Osai, Joe Tryon, even Gregory Rousseau essentially is the same player as Peyton Turner. I'm sure I'm forgetting Jason Oweh. Guys dropping is a lot better to me than giving a chance at Peyton Turner. So please
drop them all to round two.
Yeah.
Drop them all to round two.
If Jason Oweh's there around 50, 48.
Yeah, I'm trading.
If any of those guys are there, I think you have to start making calls if you're this team.
Look, then this is something the Chiefs, that they can get into that 48, 49, 50 range with a trade split, which basically what they could do is they could take 58 and 63. They could trade with someone in the 48, like late 40s, early 50s, and get their second and their third pick. And so, the Chiefs are given 58, 63 up. They get 50 and 78. Or something along those kind of ranges, and split their picks. So they're getting one earlier and one a little bit later. They did it. That's what they did. I'm going to say this. They did this the last time they traded up for a defensive end. They did this for Breeland Speaks. They wound up with pick 56 or 46, 48, and 101. which was Breland Speaks and Dorian O'Daniel. So yes, I know this is a terrible terrible example right now, but it's something they've done. And it would make a little bit of sense. Like if Jason Oweh was there, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. Yeah. In a heartbeat. I would be thrilled with Jason Oweh at 31.
Listen, we're talking about Boogie Basham's part of that group as well. Like, I mean, the more edges that fly out of round 2, the better. And the wide receivers have not had a massive run on them either. This is more or less who we expected to go in round 1 so far. So if you are looking at wide receiver, you are looking at edge in that 58-63 range, this is good so far. This has been good for the Chiefs. We'll see. Interior offensive line is still there too. And not that we necessarily expected a whole bunch of those to fly off the board, but it's good. So some of the best case things have happened so far.
The pick is in for...
Yeah, you can bring Jake back if he's free.
Jake, people want to hear your takes right now.
On what?
On Eric Stokes, the quarterback out of Georgia, being the pick.
He's fast.
He is fast. Eric Stokes was a hell of a track athlete, not just at his Exos. He was a hell of a track athlete. Jake, buddy, it's going to be okay. Like
he's got
tools.
I think
he's got tools.
He's fine. I just, with the stress of everything going on today, I just was really hoping for Elijah Moore. But if we know anything, Packers don't care what Aaron Rodgers thinks. They don't care at all. Not one iota. So
wait. Are you trying to tell me that this whole plan to draft Patrick Surtain for Denver and then make a trade afterwards?
Let's quantify this with telling you that was a tinfoil hat theory. Okay. Let's not put that on me.
Don't put that evil on me.
No, I don't know. It's like an eat your vegetables type pick. You got to eat your vegetables. You can't never have enough of it, but
you respect it.
I can't. I'm just going to tell you because I've known Jake. Me and Jake have been through. This is like seriously 10, 11, 12 drafts for us in our life now. We are old, by the way.
I know. I'll be in that tomorrow.
Yeah, no, he's gonna stay up till about 2 a.m. tonight, and he's gonna read up on every press conference from the Packers. He's gonna watch some more Eric Stokes tape, and then I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow, and he's gonna be like, "Yeah."
From my personal. Okay, so like taking everything that if Aaron Rodgers, if that stuff wouldn't have happened today, I'd actually be really fine with this pick. Because the Packers were not only the best offense in the NFL last year without a first-round wide receiver, they were a historically good offense last year. Like you guys understand what that means, history. The reason they weren't in the Super Bowl is because Kevin King can't cover me. So Eric Stokes, at least, I get it. I get it, but
there's a lot of speed in that secondary all of a sudden.
Yeah, there is.
A lot of athleticism. Another corner off the board. I think this was a guy that was kind of a fringy. Some people have connected Asante Samuel Jr. here to the Bills recently. That would be fascinating. The first slot kind of guy coming off the board.
We'd heard some ETN as
the
week went along, but he's gone. So that's. Do they go edge?
Jason Oweh?
Do they
go have zero pass rush?
Yeah. And there's still pass rushers out there.
Is this where Christian Barmore comes off the board?
I also think that I've heard people that are more connected to the Bills talk about that they aren't exactly going to rely on, I believe they signed Emmanuel Sanders and then Cole Beasley to be long-term solutions at wide receiver. So I just had some people say that, don't rule out wide receiver completely for them. Which
Elijah Moore would make a lot of sense.
Gives them a lot more of it gives them a dynamic player out of the slot and
more juice,
deep threat to replace John Brown that they don't really have.
And eventually Cole Beasley replacement.
It's down on me.
You got the pick?
No, I'm just saying this pick down on me.
Maybe not Worcester.
I would understand Diami Brown too.
Yeah, Diami Brown would be good.
No, I didn't. It's not. I don't know who the pick is. I'm just saying.
Jakey Scoops here.
Jakey
Scoops here. I thought you whispered like you were tipping it.
No, you guys were talking about a good slot, and I think Diami would be a good fit in Buffalo. This is early for him, but
he would. Like I think
and it's Diami at 62 or bust for me.
It's weird he's not getting past 58.
Well, Chiefs never draft the players, so I'm not worried about it.
Well, they don't have me doing the gritty, on the line here. If we draft Diami Brown.
I wish, no. Usually, I will say this. Usually, the more upset I am with the first-round pick, the better they end up being. Like, some of my least favorite first-round picks in recent Packers memory are, like, Clay Matthews and Kenny Clark. So,
yeah, but you better have loved Jair, and he's amazing.
I did love Jair.
Everyone loved Jair, though. I get that.
Yeah, the Bills pick is in, which means we have exactly 2 picks left.
Wow.
Ooh.
Guys, the Chiefs are on the
The Chiefs they have selected offensive tackle from the Baltimore Ravens, Orlando Zeus Brown.
Love the pick.
Hey, that's a good pick.
A plus. Brett Veach for president.
Patrick Mahomes.
Wonderful.
I love it.
Great.
See, that's what we would be doing regardless of who it was. It could have been another running back, and we'd be like, well, I mean, this is how it would work.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, this is we're getting close to pick 31. I think. Oh, do you know the pick?
Pick is in.
Don't spoil it.
Gregory Rousseau.
Okay.
Going to Buffalo. That's a good fit.
It's a big swing. I mean, you saw one big year of tape of a Gregory Rousseau. You don't really know, what the rest of his projection looks like. He didn't test particularly well at his pro day, which it's not the end all be all, but you would hope to see a little bit more juice out of a guy. A big, long, inexperienced defensive end, doesn't know entirely what he's doing quite yet. There's a lot to develop with him. And if he had tested better, he's probably not here right now, I don't think, because there's a lot of production in the 1 year he was there at Miami, really putting in a lot of production. And I mean, if he tests and he's 20 years old, I think, or 21 years old. So, moldable clay. And if he tests better, he's gone 15 picks ago.
I mean, this pick stinks for me because I think he was one of the edges that I thought actually had a really good chance to be available in the 50s because of, essentially all the questions we've brought up. 1 year of production, relatively poor testing. If I'm not mistaken, almost 10 of his 15 and a half sacks or whatever came from being lined up on the inside, and like another 3 were on stunts or twists. So there's definite projection issues you're going to have with Gregory Rousseau. I thought maybe you'd get a guy that could slide to the 50s that would very much fit Steve Spagnuolo's system. That said, it makes a lot of sense for the Bills, who do play a lot of strong side, weak side, edges, with Jerry Hughes essentially taking the weak side the majority of the time. He fits opposite of him. Him and Ed Oliver running games together makes sense. So it's disappointing to have an edge like Rousseau off the board that had a chance to be there. At the same time, I don't think that, this is something you're punching air about. I'd much rather him go off the board, much like Peyton Turner, than some of the other more athletic guys still left.
Right.
So, yeah, Chiefs would have been on the clock here. Azeez Ojulari, Jason Oweh, Tevin Jenkins, all guys that are on the board, all guys that we like. Not necessarily guys that the Chiefs like, but guys that we like. So real quick, if you were in this position for the Chiefs, who would you take?
If Tevin Jenkins, or if Orlando Brown's not on this team?
If Orlando Brown's not on this team.
Tevin Jenkins. I figured out. I don't know if he's a left tackle. I think he has the athleticism capable of doing it. I know he had a few snaps over there, and it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. I'm taking Tevin Jenkins, acknowledging that I'm getting a guy that's going to be one of my best 5 offensive linemen for the entire duration of his rookie contract, and probably getting an extension from this football team. Where, at what position? That would be the big question. I would still be nervous in week 1 about what's going on over at the left side, whether it's a rookie left tackle, whether or not, I don't know. But I would like to pick because I like the player, and he's a best 5 offensive lineman for the next 10 years protecting Patrick Mahomes.
Where the Chiefs are at, you have to take Tevin Jenkins if you don't make this trade for Orlando Brown, because you have no left tackle. Like, you have to make that pick. I could hear an argument for a Walker Little just because maybe you think he's a better fit than Tevin Jenkins, even though I like Tevin Jenkins better. I think most people do. So, I could hear that argument. But if you didn't land Orlando Brown, you were forced. You are absolutely forced to taking an offensive tackle in round 1. So there's not really much of a debate, and you can't argue best player versus best value or anything like that, at least from my opinion.
Now, best player on the board for us was Jason Oweh.
Mm-hmm.
And in the mock draft that I did for the Locked On show, I went with Jason Oweh. I believe Tevin Jenkins had just come off the board a few picks earlier. And I went for the swing on Jason Oweh. Now, I will make the argument for him because I think, the Chiefs are going to be picking around this range for the next 10 years probably. And they're going to have a hard time getting blue chip players because they're going to be picking in the late 20s and 30s for the foreseeable future. Jason Oweh has a absolutely rare athletic profile, and it's not like his tape was bad. It just didn't have a ton of sacks. There was still disruption in his tape. There was still some positive plays there. He's an athlete, but he's a dense athlete. He's like 2 or 3, depending on the measurements you listen to. It's either 3 pounds, 1 pound off of Steve Spagnuolo's threshold for defensive end. Make him eat a few ribs. All right, buddy.
Maddie, what was your Eric Stokes comp?
What was your Eric Stokes comp?
I think Craig did the comps.
Craig, what was your Eric Stokes comp?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
You will have to look it up in the KC draft guide there.
Look
Jake.
it up in that.
Gum.co/KC draft guide 21. Promo code draft week gets it for $6.99. And you can read up on all the Chiefs picks tomorrow. It'll be great. And you can read up all the picks today. Anyways, Jason Oweh, I think would have been a worthy swing. Jason Oweh is a guy that if they trade up to go get tomorrow, I'm thrilled because I really like the player. I believe he has a chance to be a blue chip player. That athletic profile is rare. Athletic profile is a strong indicator of pass rusher success.
Trey Waynes is the answer, Jake. Trey Waynes was the comp for Eric Stokes in the KC draft guide.
I will say this. Tevin Jenkins' arms did not fit what Andy Reid has typically drafts.
They were a little over 33, I believe. And depending on who you talk to, I believe Dane Brugler said they were 32 7/8 when he talked to a scout last year. So Tevin Jenkins' arms magically grew half an inch. And,
Right.
The issue, I would have taken Oweh too, because I do think he's a very good football player. I just don't think you could if you didn't make the trade for Orlando.
I agree. You have to have that tackle.
And just expect to land a tackle that's all of a sudden ready to play on day one and pick, 63 in the second round of the draft. So that's why the trade was good. While you lose a first round pick, you open up the possibilities that you have throughout the rest of the draft. You aren't pigeonholed into picking one position. And Chiefs didn't know Tevin Jenkins was going to be there for sure. Take him off the board for somebody that went ahead of time. And now you're forced into taking one of these tier 3 tackles.
Walker Little, Spencer Brown. Yeah. Just, one of these guys that is going to be a project, is going to take some time. And then you don't have a left tackle that you can really trust. So it still makes sense that the Chiefs did what they did. I like that they got the second round draft pick back, especially kind of seeing how this goes. We got 2 more picks here, but unless there's going to be a huge run on edge and wide receiver early tomorrow, I actually like where the Chiefs are going to be sitting. They can go up and get a guy if they have a guy that they're just absolutely in love with, and they walk away with a franchise left tackle and a good player that, we might have been okay with drafting, like a Jason Oweh at 31 anyway.
Well, do you want to know the pick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, with the 31st pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Jason Oweh.
Oh, really? Wow. So, there you go.
I think that
was pass rush too. They did need pass rush too. Yep.
I think this is a great move for them. I think
this is bad Chiefs fans.
Yep. I would have liked this pick. Again, no regrets.
No.
0.
Keep the franchise upright instead of rushing.
100%.
I'd like to do both, but if I got to pick one, I'm keeping the franchise upright.
Yeah, this is essentially the Ravens had the perfect 1-2 punch to make Chiefs fans jealous. And I think you are going to hear now all off season from, over optimistic Ravens fans, from overly pessimistic Chiefs fans, how the Ravens are now going to stomp the Chiefs, how the Ravens are done better from this deal because they got Bateman, because they got Oweh, two positions the Chiefs could greatly use. But I mean, we'll have to see once the play actually starts, which one of these three players between Orlando Brown, Bateman, and Jason Oweh is playing the best football. Because I'm obviously going to lean towards the guy that's done it already. It's a good draft, though, for the Ravens. I think all Chiefs fans would have, loved to have this draft before we saw this trade.
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic draft so far for the Ravens.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter because they don't have Patrick Mahomes.
It's true.
They don't have a quarterback.
I mean, I didn't say it, but I mean,
thank goodness the Bucs pick is in and day one of the draft is almost over. Bruce Arians, much like me, is ready for a snooze.
Hey, Bruce Arians is pretending like his team isn't running back. I like how he made fun of running back and then literally their team ran it back.
The exactly same
they
thing.
did the exact same thing. It's probably going to be Javonte Williams here. They're going to take a running back just like the Chiefs did.
Oh, please let it be Javonte. Although I really like Javonte.
I do too, but I think it'd be hilarious if they literally copied the exact same thing that the Chiefs did last year and ran it back, even though Bruce Arians made fun of running it back. And they're running it back even harder than the Chiefs are.
Okay, who is the final pick of the first round? Who's your guesses?
Oh,
Landon Dickerson.
I'm going to guess Joe Tryon.
I hope they take Tevin Jenkins if they're smart. I do think somebody brought up a pretty good point in the chat, and I think it might have already scrolled by. The Ravens not selecting Tevin Jenkins after trading away a right tackle, desperately needing a right tackle, may tell you, and the fact that Tevin Jenkins is still on the board, as we get to pick 32, maybe the NFL was never as high on Tevin Jenkins as kind of the rest of us. So
bad.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this out here, Matthew. I'm gonna present a scenario to you. Joe Tryon can play center.
He can.
Tevin Jenkins is sitting there at 48. And you can use 58 and 63 to kind of pick swap.
No, I'm not trading up for a guard. You can stop now. I'm not trading up for it. I'm not using any more capital after we already paid an interior offensive lineman, left tackle, starting good left tackle money.
Just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Full eject.
I'm just saying. Tevin Jenkins, Orlando Brown, Joe Tryon.
I will say a issue that crept up late for me was a story about Tevin Jenkins that I heard, and that a transfer from West Virginia had to come in. He played opposite tackle of Tevin Jenkins for a while. And Tevin Jenkins said himself that he had this guy came in and motivated him to play harder, to play tougher, to play through the whistle.
Is that Justin Houston? So it's not like Justin Houston situation.
No, Justin Hamilton was the guy that actually came in, you guys.
Yeah, it was Justin Hamilton playing left tackle. The pick is in. The pick is in for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, this one hurts. Just gonna throw it out there. This one hurts, guys. This one.
Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have selected Joe Tryon, the edge out of Washington. Maddie, if it makes you feel any better, I think this just tells you that edge probably wasn't falling to the Chiefs at 58.
Right. No, it's just these fast few picks. The last few picks this round were some guys that you would have liked to see last a little bit longer. You would have liked to see just a few more other positions going there. I think the Chiefs were going to get Joe Tryon or Gregory Rousseau at 58? No. It's just you would have liked to see them fall a little bit farther. I think it's a good pick for the Bucs. So, I mean, again, this is another team that could use improvement at right guard specifically. Passed on Tevin Jenkins, maybe the media was a little higher on Tevin Jenkins than the NFL was this whole time.
Could be.
Here's the thing. The early teams in round 2 aren't the teams that took the edges off the board in round 1. So, there could be some bottom of the barrel guys by the time it gets to the Chiefs because 3 guys basically went off the board here rapid fire right at the end of round 1. 3 guys that you would hope would kind of absorb some of that cushion in round 2 as teams restack their boards. Now all of a sudden, edge is drying up a little bit. So if you're hoping wide receiver, Linebacker still looking pretty good. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah fell straight out of the first round.
Huh.
A little bit of a
Interesting.
surprise to some, but we weren't
Was
as
it
high
was
on
it
him.
was it surprising to the Casey draft guide?
No, not exactly. But we're not typically kind to those slot linebacker types just because of our grading scale.
Well, that's because Craig grades linebackers and Craig hates everyone.
Yeah,
I am pretty sure I graded him lower.
Yeah, but Edge doesn't look great right now. So
Edge
you got to
does not
hope
look
that some stuff falls, or the Chiefs are going to say, listen, we're hitting the abort button on Edge, and we're going to try and target wide receiver, corner, whatever the case may be. So that'll do it for day one of the NFL draft. Thanks for hanging out with us for the end of this. Thanks for, sitting through these final few picks. We'll be back for a little bit here. We'll have a podcast for you tomorrow morning, and maybe we'll see you tomorrow night when the Chiefs are actually picking and adding players to their roster. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you so much for coming in. We will try to be live again tomorrow. Hopefully, it's a little bit earlier in the night, so we will have a little bit more energy going on. We'll have some actual stuff to talk about for you guys. But tune in to your your Arrowhead Pride podcast channel tomorrow morning. We are about to record a quick little recap and a little primer going into day 2. So you'll have a podcast for you, up tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest. And then we should be going live again tomorrow.